All right, some things have changed with the method that I'm doing things here. By the way, my outdoor cat is here, messing around with my legs as I'm talking to you. If I seem distracted. So we had 3 outside lights that we were planning on doing, and I was changing the 3-way switches to the double 3-way switches here, so we get more switches in one little box there. And I have done that to the one spot, but the thing that has changed is that I was going to come from my panel, in here, my electrical panel, and run a wire out through here and bring it around over there to supply power to all 3 spots so they'd all be on one breaker, and I've decided not to do that because I don't want to create more holes than I have to up here. So already coming for the panel here is we had a hot, which is going to be our 2-wire. And up at the top here you can see I have 3 wires up here. I have a 3-wire, a 3-wire, and a 2-wire. The wire towards the back there is thinner. It only has a hot, neutral, ground. The other wires have the communicator in there, or the wire that's going to talk to the other switch about on and off and so forth. So anyways, I took the hot that was coming from this and I put it in here and attached it to the hot for this switch. So now this switch here operates the lights outside, and these switches operate the lights in here. But I took the whites, you can see that my whites are all attached up here now. My neutrals no longer come down into the box here because they're doing the same job up there that they would here. So it gave me a little bit more room down here, and very honestly, I did not have a lot of room down here. In fact, the first time I tried this, it conked out of me, the breaker kept going off. And the reason was because one of my ground wires was up against my screw on the switch. So every time I used this top switch here, the breaker would go. So it was just a matter of taking off the front face again and getting the wires back away from the switches so that it would work properly. And now it is. The switch over here is going to be my most complicated one because I have 2 3-wires coming to it, and they're just the ones that are bringing the hot from those other switches there. So none of those are hot all the time. And then the wires coming from the box are the 2 wires that go out to the lights and feed all the light circuits in here. I have 2 different branches. Anyhow, so the way that I'm going to feed this front one is I'm going to start to do some wiring upstairs. I wanted some lights up there anyhow. So I'm going to have to bring a wire from here, powering this and going out up to the top there to do my lighting circuit in the next floor, which is something that I want to get done anyhow. And in the front here, which is the one we're going to focus on right now, I have a hot wire. Let me get a pointer here. Here's a good pointer. So coming through from the stone part of the house, I have a hot wire here that feeds into this junction box. Goes down to the switch, also powers these outlets here, and the switch operates the lights in this room here. So the power comes down and then goes back out from the switch and goes out this branch here. This is all one branch here that I have these lights on because there are fewer of them. So I have a hot. I have a hot in here that's hot all the time, and that's coming from the panel right there. So what I want to do is, I want to take this single pole, single throw switch, meaning that this is the only place that these lights are switched. I don't have another spot in the room here where I can turn them off and on again, because this is the spot that's right by both my doorways. So every time I come into this room or leave this room, I'm going past this point. So there's not a purpose for me to have a 3-way in this room here. So what I want to do is, on the other one I had switches that were over top of each other that had 3-way screws on them. If you notice this one here, that's not true. This one here has my blacks and has the plate in between there. So this is going to be my feed where my hot goes in. And I don't have to feed it to both of them because it has that little plate that goes across that connects them. So if I get a hot here, my hot will be going to both of these switches. And here's the opposite side of the switch where it comes back out of. So it's just a single pole, single throw. It just prevents the current or allows the current to go through. So it's not the same thing as the 3-way that we talked about last week. This is single pole, single throw. Anyhow, So that's going to go on this side, and that's going to go on the other side. So I also bought a new plate for this that has double holes on both sides here. Okay? So what has to happen now? Well, if you notice, we don't have any of that metal clad wire going out into the upper side of my roof here. So our light is going on up in here. So we have to have a wire that comes out and it's going to service the light here. You can see on the other roof, which is identical to this one here, this one already has the wire up there, the metal clad wire that I can go ahead and use. This one does not. So I have to have a metal clad wire that comes in and connects to this box right here. Now the issue is I got to get it to come out and turn out, and I've got to be able to put that in there with enough room to be able to tighten it down with. So I believe I'm going to try to go in through the top. I have to look and see what it looks like inside there. So let's go ahead and we'll open these up and take a look at what the wiring inside looks like. I'm working on a hot circuit right now. And it's grounded, so I'm not concerned about that, about taking the plate off here. I just want to make sure that I'm not touching any of the wires that are back inside here. And these screws don't have to come all the way off. They can be loosened and then the plate just kind of slides off. So let's look at what's inside there. So we said that we have from the panel, we have a hot wire that goes in to it. So here's our hot right here. And really, we don't have any connections here that are electrical or could shock us at all because it goes straight down into this EMT that I painted. This is that metal conduit that I used a bender for bending it down to the box down there. So I have to, the hot that's down here, I have to bring it, get a hot from here, a second switch, and bring it up so it runs out to the metal clad out here. So I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side here. These white wires that come down here, I'm going to pull them back up out for the switch. So it's going to come back out, and I'm going to nut them up top here. That's going to give me a way to pull up my hot wire for the next switch then also. So I will, down here, I'll open this one up too. And again, back behind this, we're live. So I want to make sure I don't touch the sides of my outlets or the sides of my switch because those are the screws that my wires are attached to, and those are hot.
According to the poll on Twitter, we are currently at 77.8% turn it up, so we will leave all of those polls open until just after midnight tonight. And thank you so much for taking the time to share your thoughts with us on these songs. We really appreciate it here at XPN.
You know, when you're working with circuits like this, it's always best to work with one hand rather than having both hands in there. That if you did receive a shock, you wouldn't have a path through your chest. If both hands are touching in here, that it has a path through your chest, which is where you get into trouble. Okay, so I have my screws out. My plate's off. And we can get a look and see what's going on in there. A lot of wires going on there. The whites that we see in the back there are going to come out, except for the whites that are on the outlet. So I'm going to be able to take the white from my switch and drag that back up. And I'm doing this all right now in the beginning of the day because not knowing how long it's going to take me to get this all finished up here, I want to be able to have the daylight to help me out because I'm going to be turning off this circuit in a short while here. So I'm going to turn the circuit off and then we'll look inside and we'll see what's going to happen next.